Lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload a video, you will be the first person to be notified. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for all the love and support. To those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and to my channel members, you guys are the real MVP. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Alright lovelies, let's get in today's video. So lovelies, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok, and I thought to share with you guys where this Asian woman is actually, setting record straight to white people that actually told her that they could be allying with them to, suppress people of my own type of skin. Guys, she actually gave it back to them. I'm just gonna roll the clip as well as the stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. Alright lovelies, let's dive into it.
You are engaging in what I refer to as a moral race to the bottom, where you take something that was recognized as immoral and you justify it, and in justifying it, you eventually come back around to reframing it as a positive. So invading, subjugating people by force, stealing from them, and exploiting them is wrong, but the justification is everybody does it. And because everybody does it, the European colonizers who were the best at it were in fact not doing anything wrong at all. It is just a measure of their advanced level of achievement and ambition. And that was the idea behind divine decree, that people weren't even being subjugated, stolen from, or exploited. It's that Europeans were graciously going around the world and sharing the benefit of their enlightenment with everybody. The issue is they kept encountering people who were so primitive and savage that they were required to use justifiable force in order to civilize them for their own good. We saw a similar moral race to the bottom with the transatlantic slave trade and the scramble for Africa. Enslaving people is wrong because it robs them of their human rights, so we can justify that by dehumanizing those who are being enslaved as inherently inferior. So now the enslavers aren't doing anything wrong, they are simply upholding the natural order of things, and they're actually doing the enslaved a favor by teaching them useful skills and civilizing them. Similarly, there was no native genocide, there was only manifest destiny. And we currently see a similar thing with capitalism, where before it was recognized that concentration of wealth by exploiting the many is wrong, but now we view capitalism as a sign of democracy and freedom. So we have people who are voting for and upholding their own exploitation at the hands of capitalism with pride, because we call that hard work and meritocracy in the American dream. The thing is, when you engage in a moral race to the bottom, you will eventually wind up shooting yourself in the foot, because now I'm going to ask if you would please say the quiet part out loud. Since we have established that China has a lot of violent and messed up shit in its history, China had weapons capability, China had ships, China was controlling the trade that Europe would later seek to control, what is it that China became too comfortable with when they decided to discontinue the treasure fleet and to focus inward on self-sufficiency, which was later viewed as a factor in why China fell behind and was later vulnerable to invasion and exploitation? What is the ambition that China lacked that European colonizers possessed? It was an ambition for what? And you don't have to say it, but we do hear it. Oh, I didn't miss your point. Keep in mind that the Chinese invented gunpowder, and although it's true that they invented gunpowder in the alchemical pursuit of the elixir of life and not because they were seeking to create weapons to harm others, while a lot of us have been taught that they only used gunpowder for fireworks, that's not true. They developed the first gunpowder-propelled weaponry. They had the flying arrows and the so-called fire sticks. They developed the first forms of cannons and grenades and landmines and the first guns. And decades before Columbus was even born, they were operating their treasure fleet, which was already greater than anything that the Europeans would later develop during their age of exploration. But the Chinese expressly had no interest in territorial control. They were interested in controlling trade, which they did through a tribute system, but they eventually discontinued the treasure fleet because it was expensive to maintain and operate, and there were influential Confucian scholars in court who felt that the treasure fleet represented extravagance and waste, whereas China should focus inwards on agriculture and self-sufficiency rather than foreign trade. So unlike your speculation about what non-European cultures would have done if they had the means and labeling me as delusional for not aligning with it, that is historical fact that shows there were non-European cultures who had the means to colonize the rest of the world and chose not to, unlike Europeans who are willing to engage in colonialism and enslavement and stealing from others in order to ensure that foreign trade was profitable for them. That is historical fact. What is delusional is ignoring it because it hurts your feelings. I am not confused. You are literally infantilizing the non-European cultures who established the first libraries and universities in the world, whose histories are steeped in science and technology and art, who were exploring and had ocean-going vessels and fleets and were trading with one another, as children who lack the capability to do anything in order to justify the greed and avarice that motivated the European age of exploration and the development of modern weapons and warfare. When Columbus arrived in the New World, he noted that the indigenous people he encountered were not familiar with swords and surmised that they had not yet achieved the ability to work with metal and suggested that as a result they would be easy to enslave. So, of course, people like you want to frame that as being the natural result of the lack of ability on the part of indigenous people, rather than recognizing that it is about the immorality of explorers like Christopher Columbus and the nations that they represented, who were motivated by greed and who set out actively seeking to dehumanize other people in order to accomplish it. And we see this argument a lot. I think one of the worst things that colonialism and Western imperialism has done to our collective psyche is to promote this idea that power corrupts is a foregone conclusion, such that immorality and corruption themselves represent power, and we measure the advancement of a nation by its destructive capability, such that any nations that didn't develop in that vein are viewed as ineffective and weak, and we believe that the only reason why people would act with morals is if they lack the ability to excel at being immoral. You're obviously not aware of this, but blessed is not a word that the global majority thinks of in association with Europeans. Words like plague and colonizer, maybe, but not blessed. And the cell phone in my hand came from China. So I don't know if you're referencing Steve Jobs or Martin Cooper or the Finnish inventor who created the first pocket-sized telecommunication device in 1917, and you probably don't know either because your education system has left you terribly ignorant and without the critical thinking skills necessary to effectively gather information. Because you believe that most great inventions can be attributed to one white person, as opposed to recognizing that the patent system is how white people colonize intellectual property. We would not have cell phones if it wasn't for the creation of the gamma electrical cell by black inventor Henry T. Sampson. And most of our cell phones would not have microphones in them if it wasn't for the particular microphone that was created by black inventor James Edward West. The creation of the first digital network, 1G, was launched in Japan, and then black electrical engineer Jesse Russell pioneered the creation of 2G, which launched in Finland first. 3G launched in Japan, 4G launched in Norway, 5G launched in South Korea, and 30% of the world's cell phones are manufactured in China. Because we, of the global majority, recognize that collective humanity has the ingenuity and creativity of one another to thank, whereas a lot of European Americans are laboring under the delusion that the rest of us have white people to thank. And it's this narcissistic ignorance that causes people like you to do embarrassing things, like leaving comments about Europeans and cell phones on a video about systemic anti-black racism in the United States. And while that could be written off as a comedic and senile non sequitur, we recognize it as a desperate attempt to center yourself in a conversation that has nothing to do with you. The irony being that white people like to say not all white people and they shouldn't be held accountable for the misdeeds of their ancestors, yet they want to be associated with the greatness of the things that they think they invented.
I seriously love this. It's actually the audacity for me. So these people think that, or because they felt that they had the opportunity to colonize people, to colonize other people, that they can just go ahead and do that because they had the opportunity. For him to, come here to talk about how if the other, people that's not, European people, if they had the opportunity, they could have done the same thing to other people. Now this actually shows me the kind of mindset these people have. Like that means they are even seeing pride to what they do, and they're actually saying that everything they did was not wrong, that they were opportune to do that if other people had the opportunity, that they could have done the same or even worse than them. Like who actually reasons this way? Who reasons that trying to humiliate your own fellow, or try to humiliate, or like seriously, is this the kind of mindset they have? Is it that they thought that other people can actually do the same thing to them that they felt was so good and befitting for them to do to other people? Is this the reason why they're so scared of, maybe when they see that people of my own type of skin is coming together, or when they see that maybe Asian American people are trying to, like, form alliance with black people, they become so, scared, or maybe trying to feel, okay, I think these people are trying to, do to us what we actually do to them. Like, serious, this is just making a lot of sense. So they are aware of what they did. They are aware of, that yes, we are aware that we want to oppress people. We want to oppress you guys because we have the means to do that, because we have the ability to do that. You guys do not have the ability to do that. So we have to use our power, our ability to oppress you guys. Because we know that if you guys have the same power, you could do the same thing to us. Is it the reason why they're always looking for people to use as an scapegoat? Example of these people are Asian Americans. Like, I could remember during the times of affirmative actions when these people, oh my God, you know how it was all over the internet, affirmative action to be removed or not to be removed. They even have to, use Asian Americans to go against people of my own type, thinking that they are benefiting us. They made them to understand that, okay, I think these guys are actually taking up your own sloth. You guys are not getting admitted into these Ivy schools, or because of this kind of people. This is why they actually find it, in every aspect to make sure that they paint us so bad that people wouldn't want to maybe associate with us, or people wouldn't want to do anything with us. They paint us so bad that we become a threat to everyone. We become, something that is unassociable. Is this the reason why? Like, when I saw this, I was like, oh my goodness, this is actually what is in their mind. That means they used to tell them that you shouldn't feel so sorry for doing whatever we did, or we shouldn't be sorry for whatever we did, because if we actually give rooms to these people, they might do the same thing. But that even realizing that people are very different. People are different. People cannot behave the way you are. It's not everyone that has dubious mind like you. So you actually felt that it was so good and comfortable for you to do whatever you want to do, because if you don't do that, you might be actually, like, this might actually befall you. I was actually talking about the affirmative action. So this is how they, persuaded these people. Asian American was all bent on removing us affirmative action. They were thinking that we are taking their sport. Our students are taking their sport, because of course we are not even intelligent to be able to go into such schools. We are meant to go to school in Gotas. We are meant to go to school in the hood. We are not meant to go to Ivy schools. With all their propagandas and all of that, affirmative actions was removed. And after that was when Asian Americans realized that we are not actually the problem. It was removed, and they were not even getting admitted to these schools compared to when they were getting admitted, when this affirmative action of a thing was there. So what are we saying? What are we saying? And now he's leaving comment sections like, okay, you think that if you guys had the opportunity, you wouldn't do what we did. So this is all about who can do whatsoever. It's not about humanity anymore. It's all about what to do, what is nice. It's all about looking at us that we are all nice. We are all, human beings. We are all human. We are all for a good cause. And now that the truth is being revealing, the truth has been revealed, and they want us to, like, who is listening to Putin? Nobody should listen to him. Like, seriously? Why wouldn't we listen to him? You guys are always pointing bad fingers at this particular set of people, making us to understand that they are actually the bad guys, the bad ones. But you guys have been lying to us, and you want us not to listen to Putin. Really? I just thank God that the truths are coming out one after the other. We are beginning to see whom we are, where we come from, our existence, how we came into this world, who really is the chosen ones. They did all these things, try to, make us believe that they are the real people. But meanwhile, in reality, we are actually the chosen ones. But they made us to believe, took away everything from us, make us to practically worship them. Like, seriously. I don't know that stuff. Like, let me just go ahead and read it. They chose not to colonize other nations because they lack ambitions and were too comfortable, not because of some imagined moral superiority. Like, are you kidding me right now? So, we not being, colonized by other people means they are not ambitions to do that. Where has this gotten to being ambitions and not being ambitious? Like, how could you actually, make people's life unbearable, and you are telling it to be an ambition? Missed my point. Non-European would have done what Europeans did if they could have, but they couldn't because they didn't have the means. If you think otherwise, you are delusional. Are you serious? You are confusing the weakness and ineffectiveness of non-European with them being more moral. It's like saying a child is more moral than an adult, when really they lack capability to do things. Are you kidding me? Anyway, lovelies, why not just leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. And don't forget that we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever, because we're just here for educational purposes. So please share this video, subscribe to this channel if you're here to do that, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one. Watch up to this extent. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video, and do not forget that this channel, we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We're just here for educational purposes, guys. So please share this video, subscribe if you're here to do that, and I will see you lovelies when I upload